GIM is now, entering in its 30th year because it was established by Father Romuald de Souza in 1993. So roughly around 30 years from now. And he is a well-known educator, and he established the Xavier Institute in Bhubaneswar. And he, being a Goan, he came back to Goa in 93. And he felt that Goa should have a good business school, because back then there was no management institution in Goa. So that is the genesis of the institute, where for the first 17 years, GIM was actually housed in a very old heritage building, which was the second oldest medical college in India, which was just quite near to Panjim, which a lot of you would know, and I'm sure you would have visited also. We moved to this new campus, which is a very, which is on top of a Western Ghat hill. So we are actually in the hills of Goa. It's a very, beautiful campus sitting on a hilltop, a 50-acre campus, which from the outside, it does not look like it will be, it will have all the amenities like we have. So it's a very unique campus, and I wish I had also studied here. Not just because it's in Goa, but it's a very well-equipped campus, which you would not want to leave. So in 90 it started, and in 2013, in the 20th year, we started the second program, which is the PGDM Healthcare Management Program. And then since then, we have started other programs as well. So the institute has been maturing. Right now, we admit about close to 500 students every year. So on campus, there are at least 1,000 students residing on campus. And majority of the faculty members also live on campus. So it's a very hustling, bustling campus with the gymnasium and the sports arena always occupied. And, the student-faculty interaction is always very friendly, very open, transparent. So it's quite unlike any other education institution. So the first program which I mentioned, and which is the largest program for GIM, is the PGDM program. PGDM, we also call it PGDM Core, because other programs are sector-specific programs. So PGDM takes in about 240 students every year. The second program, the second oldest program, is the PGDM Healthcare Management Program, which I am associated with, which is again now in its 10th year. And our intake is 60 students every year. The third one, which we started around 2017, was the Big Data Analytics Program. In short, it's called as PGDM BDA. And the intake for that is 120 students. And the latest in the line of our PGDM programs is Banking, Insurance and Financial Services, BIFS, which also takes in 60 students now. So all four programs put together. And then we also have Executive MBA program for, working professionals, people who have more than, 3 years work experience. And we also have a doctoral program, FPM, people who want to do PhD in management. What we are very proud of is that in these last 30 years, we have close to, 4,000 plus alumni spread, all over the world. Every year we have an alumni meet in Sydney, Singapore, UAE, US, and places like that, European countries. We have a very strong alumni base, which, I have seen that they are very closely connected with the institute. So the recruitment process, helps a lot to the graduating students, because a lot of alumni, they come in to recruit, and though they understand the value of a GIM education. Accreditation is essentially, if I were to use these words, it's a thappa of quality, by an unbiased, impartial agency. And it's a very long drawn process. It does not happen overnight, like you said. Most of these accreditations, their evaluation cycle itself is like 3 to 5 years. So by the time we start, if we start today, then, if all goes well, and if we are doing everything correct, then we'll get our accreditation 3 to 5 years from now. But once you do that, it essentially means that now you are a part of, a global uh, group of elite schools, which are of the same level, which essentially means that now if Harvard Business School is also ACSB accredited, or Oxford said Business School is also AMBA accredited, the institutions anywhere in the world which are given, accreditation by these agencies, the real meaning is that your level of education is at par with all the other institutions anywhere in the world. I think now we reached a point in time where Indian students don't need to, blindly go to Western countries, because uh, a management education of equal level is available in our own country. So that is the value of accreditation.
Just for the students, I just want to add this here, students, it's extremely important for you to understand why we talk of international accreditation. There are three big accreditations in the world, EQUAS, AMBA, and AACSB. Uh, when you do get into an institution with any of these three accreditations, wherever you go around the world, an AACSB accreditation student is seen on par with another AACSB accredited institution. So your mobility, international mobility, becomes that much more easier. The second part of it is that your research, your collaborations, your partnerships, your student exchange becomes that much more equitable and easier if you join an institution with such accreditations.
Yeah,
One of the
exactly.
important things of these accreditations is that it's a long drawn process, and it has reasonable amount of stability to it, and a process that is defined, that is not defined over next 3 months and all, but they keep monitoring your work, not just at the entry point, but till you keep moving towards that. So to a certain extent, it is not a one-time entry and an exit. It is
Yeah,
one-time entry and a continuous audit of your work to ensure that what you promised and what you committed is being actually achieved, and the outcome is being achieved. So
correct.
my suggestion to all the students here is, don't just look at ranking. Ranking is one time yearly, it is done, and a lot of institutions do it. But please go after the accreditations, especially if any of these institutions have an international accreditation. Be clear of one thing, that it's a very good institution, and it stands testimony to not just a year of performance, but a period of performance with a commitment to perform in future also.
My suggestion always has been that if you're not clear which sector or which industry you will join after your MBA, then perhaps doing a core is a better option, because in your second year you can decide that which domain, or you can wait till your recruitment drive, what type of recruiters are coming, or what happens very frequently in the job market. Some years IT companies might pick up more, so you can get absorbed by IT companies. In another years, FMCG might be on top, or data analyst roles are on top, so you might join there. So if you're not driven by any passion for any particular industry, then go for core. But let's say if you even if you're not a doctor, even if you're not from healthcare, but you do have a passion to work in healthcare, you're driven by, the common sentiments we find in students is that they want to help, the country's healthcare infrastructure. They want to help people. They are carrying those sentiments. So then healthcare is a good field. But don't carry the myth that you will be bound by a particular segment. Because you are doing MBA, your degree will always say MBA. You can always go and work for other fields.
So are you suggesting that a student can make a choice of joining a healthcare or BIFS after year one? Does he have an option here?
No, no, no. So I'm not saying that. Once you have taken admission into a program, then you will have to stick to it.
Okay.
But I don't see that as a problem, because as I said, the 50% of the curriculum is almost similar. It's just that the teaching will be done in a manner. In healthcare, we will use more cases from healthcare. In BDA, the cases and examples and simulations are more from data science background, and similar for BIFS. But once you have taken admission, then you have to see through it.
Okay. I've understood the spirit of it, but in terms of the letter part of it, Devasheesh, the
Mhm.
qualification that the student gets is MBA in healthcare management, or does
Yes,
he get a qualification called MBA?
the degree certificate will be MBA in healthcare management.
Okay, perfect.
We are only looking for students who are passionate about healthcare. You know, doesn't matter whether you are an engineer, never have worked in a healthcare field. But what we check out while admissions is their motivation, that they have a clear idea of what kind of an organization they would want to join, even if they don't understand what that job will entail, but at least have an idea of why you are joining a healthcare management program. Our curriculum is divided into the 6 domains are pharmaceutical, medical devices, health insurance, health IT, public health, and the last one is hospital management, which also reflects into the kind of recruiters we have. So we have recruiters from pharmaceutical industry, we have recruiters from medical device, insurance, public health, hospitals, and health IT.
So try to dig it deeper, Devasheesh. Are we saying that you don't need to be from the life sciences space or allied sciences at your graduation level to do a MBA in healthcare management? In the sense, people don't need to know biology, zoology, and the stuff.
Yeah.
PCM, PCB students.
Yeah.
For them to prefer healthcare management, any student can prefer.
The idea is this program makes you a manager, a person who will manage healthcare. If you go and work for pharmaceutical company, you will be managing the production of a medicine, right? You would, so the science of how the medicine treats the patients, that is for the clinical researchers to understand and the doctors to prescribe, right? Your part is how to make that product and launch it into the market. That's what MBA teaches you. So what a doctor would definitely do well in such a program because they understand the delivery part of it. But doctors don't really know how medicines are produced. What is the science behind the chemical engineering, right? So if you choose to go and work for a pharma company, you would actually go and visit the plant and understand the whole operations side of it. That what is the volume of medicines you're making, how you will transport it, how will you price it. If you work on the marketing side, you will create a go-to-market strategy. How do we launch a new drug into the market? Something which we have observed, right through the pandemic, new vaccines were made. So the pricing strategy, the launching strategy, that is what managers do. So that is what the healthcare management program will tell you. On a scale of 1 to 5, if someone belongs to healthcare background, then we assign, 5 points to that candidate out of 100. And if you're not from healthcare background, but you have worked in a healthcare, field, then also we assign a 5-point value to that. Compared to all the others someone who is a fresher and someone who is not from life sciences will probably score a 0 to 1. So the difference ultimately out of 100 will be only of 5 points out of 100, because everything else will be your 10th marks, 12th marks, your graduation marks, and your work experience, plus your entrance exam score, your CAT or Z score. So it's a composite score where we do assign some value, but it does not make much of a large difference. My perception, without looking at the real numbers, half the batch is from life sciences, which constitutes of MBBS, BDS, and Ayurved, people who have medicine degree from Ayurved and even homeopath. So MBBS, BDS, BAMS, and BHMS constitute about 30 out of 60 every year. The rest 30 is, I think about 15 are engineers of all types. We have mechanical engineer in our batch. We have computer science engineers. Always we find 5 to 6 engineers, comp science, and then other types, civil engineers, and the rest remaining 15 are from arts and humanities, and 5 to 6 we always get from BCom, commerce background. The companies can be divided as per those 6 verticals: pharma, med device, insurance, IT, hospitals, and public health. If I go by the sheer number of recruiters and compare them, then we get a lot of most of the recruitment of late, very recently for the last 2 or 3 years, has been happening in the IT industry, because almost every IT company now has a healthcare vertical, and they have a lot of healthcare clients, especially abroad in American and European markets. So most of the students go and join, typically as so we have, like, I was interacting with one alumni today morning itself, and he's working for Optum, and another one works for Samatech. These are just some names of companies which have been recruiting from our programs, and they are in the role of either senior data analyst, so they analyze the numbers and then they inform the leadership about the strategy when they're launching the product and things like that, or they crunch the numbers for their clients, their internship clients. So IT being one, and we have sufficient number of courses which teaches. So I'll use this opportunity to mention that a lot of students from life sciences background, they have this fear of, let's say, mathematics or computational abilities, software skills, coding abilities. We have enough number of courses, and we devote enough time to tutor students, make them go through workshops, so that these recruiters find them invaluable to their company. Other than IT, we have big recruiters are your typical pharma giants. If I name them, Johnson and Johnson, and other similar companies. So even Bharat Biotech came for our latest recruitment drive. We also have big number of recruitments happening in medical device industry. So all your companies like Stryker or Zimmer Biomet, these are all MNC companies headquartered in Gurgaon or Bangalore, and they take them for different roles, like either product manager or sales manager, regional sales manager, and things like that. Even brand manager. A lot of people are enthused about marketing, so every company will have a marketing role, and our students end up there. Then in decreasing order, we have companies which take from let's say public health. So government also comes in. We have a partnership with Niti Aayog, so students also can go and join there. The government's think tank also, National Health Center for the NHSRC. So the least one are hospitals. We have enough number of hospitals who are interested in our candidates, but we want better roles for our students, so they gravitate towards other side of healthcare than hospitals. It's definitely there. It has essentially highlighted the point that we already knew from much before, that healthcare is a recession-proof, crisis-proof segment. Healthcare will always be in demand because that's the most basic human need, right? So I'm not even talking about hospitals. I'm talking about managers to produce quality medicines, managers to produce quality medical devices, managers to design proper insurance packages and then make sense of claims and things and so on, right? So there are sectors which will suddenly surge, boom, and things like that. Healthcare has always been one of the fastest growing sectors. What COVID did was it made healthcare the fastest growing sector. In India, it's growing at 22% CAGR. Globally, also it's somewhere around 18 to 20% CAGR. So if you work for a healthcare company, the profits for your company will be growing at these numbers for sure. And as you can see, even at home in India, the government's focus has been on healthcare, be it Ayushman Bharat or Digital Health Mission. So the percentage of GDP going into healthcare will increase aggressively. It has to. Otherwise, because the COVID and otherwise also the growth is very aggressive, we need a lot of managers which are not available right now. So we need to have managers who understand the whole landscape holistically rather than only focusing on hospitals or only one vertical. So that's why we have this program having 6 verticals. All the students end up in a summer internship program because in parallel to final recruitment, we always have the summer internship recruitment also. So the process is same. When the students start their term 2 around October, the recruitment for summer internships start. To answer your first half of the question, the internships are similar to the final placements, actually, to be honest. So they go and work for the similar type of organizations which I have named earlier. So they can be pharma companies, IT companies, and med device companies. And typically during the internship, the interns do, so if you are hired for a market research role, then the 2 months or roughly around 10 weeks of internship which you do with that company, you would be creating a project where you'll do a market research for an actual product which the company is going to launch soon in the market. So you'll collect real-time data and you will make sense of the data, and you can do statistical analysis. You can apply a lot of frameworks which you learn in the classroom, and you can advise. So a lot of students, when they come back, so it's mandatory for students when they come back from summer internship to make a presentation in front of a faculty panel. So every year, a lot of students mention this, that when we made our final presentation to the company, the CEO was present there, and the CEO and the senior leadership took a lot of advice from us, because we spent time on the ground interacting with a lot of stakeholders. So to answer your second question, what I have observed, I'm not in charge for placement, so my numbers might slightly vary. But what I've observed is about roughly around 15 to 20% of students convert their pre-placement offers, which are typically the bigger recruiters who recruit for, who are the higher paying or well-known recruiters. So that's where the number stabilizes.
So actually, I'm doing PharmD. It is a doctor of pharmacy. Is it doing worth MBA after PharmD?
If you're thinking from recruitment perspective, I think you would be an ideal candidate, and you would have a lot of, job offers, because you have spent enough time understanding, pharmacy and, the whole industry. You would be an ideal candidate also in terms of the course, because you understand most part of, the industry. You just need to come here to fill in your gaps in terms of what are the operations of a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant, or how hospitals deliver care, or even if you have an inkling for data analysis, then you can even do that here. So it will be a very wise decision if you choose to do MBA in healthcare.
So Srinidhi, I'll also add to what Devasheesh said just now. Most recruiters love people who have a very clear intent of what they want to do and pursue in their life. If you've done PharmD and also do an MBA in health sciences, you will be right ahead of the queue with the best companies to be the first recruited candidate possibly.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, your intent is shown because you've done PharmD and then you moved on not to a core MBA but to an MBA in health sciences. You will be much ahead of the queue, and the first recruiter who comes in will first look at you and then anyone else. That's the way I look at the whole thing.
There's a question from Pranay. He says that he has completed his BSc in microbiology and now is thinking of pursuing a master's in public health, but he's unsure of the career path here. What's the scope if he goes for master's in public health?
Our program is MBA in healthcare. It's not an MPH program. It's not Master in Public Health. So if you are asking me to compare the MPH program offered by other institutions and compare it with our PGDM healthcare management, so I'm going to answer that way. So as it's obvious that, when you do Masters in Public Health, your, job opportunities are within the domain of public health, which means that you can go and work for intergovernmental agencies. Probably you can go and work for WHO or UNICEF-like agencies as their, program manager and then program director and things like that. But you obviously need to have a lot of passion for that kind of a job. Or otherwise, you can go and work for, let's say, think tanks, which are very limited in number in India. Hopefully, it grows very soon. Or typically what I've seen is MPH graduates, they go and work for NGOs, not for profit or not non-governmental organizations, because their passion lies in working on the ground. When I compare it with MBA in healthcare, the job roles are quite different, not entirely different. There is some bit of overlap for those students, our students who go and work in public health space. But everyone else who goes to work for profit companies, then the job roles are very different. You are going and working in a healthcare space, but you're working for profit companies, pharma companies, med device, IT companies. What I can answer from my own experience, because I have been there. If you're worried about the impact, you might think that MPH students get to impact healthcare more than, MBA graduates. I would say it's a matter of time horizon. Maybe MPH graduates can make an impact, a visible impact, if they go and work in villages, maybe in the next, 5-7 years. But that will be limited, because then you will need more funds. While MBA graduates make long-lasting impact if their products are successful in the market, even though they are earning profits of it. So it will be seen, 8-10 years from now, but those are long-lasting impacts. So that's a key difference if you ask me.
So they're asking that the 6 domains that you cover in PGDM are they also covered in 1-year executive program?
We don't have a 1-year executive program for healthcare. In fact, none of our sector-specific programs are 1 year. So there is no 1-year MBA in healthcare. We only have an executive MBA, and that's also not for 1 year. That's for 3 years. So that's a different type of program. I can add to that we will soon be launching an online program, which will be a condensed version of this healthcare management program, which can be done in 1 year.
So my question is कि after NEET हम medicine मतलब जो हम medicine अगर बनाना चाहें कोई भी तो क्या हम वो मतलब MBBS के साथ उस फील्ड में भी वर्क कर सकते हैं?
ओके, आप जब MBA करके जाओगे, इवन इफ यू हैव डन MBBS,
यस सर,
MBBS ग्रेजुएट अगर फार्मा कंपनी के लिए काम करेगा तो 2 चीजें होती हैं. देयर इज एक टीम होती है जो क्लिनिकल रिसर्च करती है, राइट, जो फॉर्मुलेशन बनाते हैं. तो मेरी जानकारी में मुझे नहीं लगता कि आप फॉर्मुलेशन बना सकते हो, बिकॉज उसके लिए साइंटिस्ट होते हैं, राइट. तो जिन लोगों ने उस टाइप की साइंस पढ़ी है वही लोग फॉर्मुलेशन बनाएंगे और फिर उसको क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स में डालेंगे, राइट. लेकिन आप एक MBA ग्रेजुएट होने के तौर पे आप क्या कर सकते हो कि आप उनको ये बता सकते हो कि क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स कहाँ करनी चाहिए. आप एक स्ट्रैटेजी बना के दे सकते हो कि अगर आप इंडियन मार्केट के लिए एक मेडिसिन बना रहे हो तो अर्बन सिटीज की बजाय उसको गांव में जाके टेस्ट करो, ताकि आपको बड़ा वॉल्यूम मिलेगा मार्केट का. तो आप उनको मार्केटिंग की स्ट्रैटेजी बना के दे सकते हो, आप उनको प्रोडक्ट की स्ट्रैटेजी बना के दे सकते हो, एंड फॉर्मुलेशन को छोड़ के आप बाकी सारे काम कर सकते हो.
सर माय क्वेश्चन इज कि आफ्टर नीट हम मेडिसिन मतलब जो हम मेडिसिन अगर बनाना चाहें कोई भी तो क्या हम वो मतलब MBBS के साथ उस फील्ड में भी वर्क कर सकते हैं?
ओके, हाँ, आप जरूर एलिजिबल हैं, बिकॉज हमारे ऑफिशियली एंड प्रैक्टिकली हम लोग कोई कट ऑफ रखते नहीं है. बिकॉज जैसा मैं पहले बोल रहा था कि ये प्रोग्राम उन लोगों के लिए है जो हेल्थ केयर फील्ड में काम करने के लिए बहुत पैशनेट है, राइट. और पैशन हम कट ऑफ से जज नहीं कर सकते, राइट. तो उसका हमारा तरीका एडमिशन का क्या है कि हम प्रोफाइल बेस्ड एडमिशन करते हैं. तो जैसा मैं पहले बता रहा था कि अगर आप हेल्थ केयर बैकग्राउंड से हैं तो आपको एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट्स मिलते हैं, या फिर आपने हेल्थ केयर फील्ड में काम किया है, आपने किसी हॉस्पिटल में काम किया है, या आपने किसी डायग्नोस्टिक लैब में काम किया है, या फार्मा कंपनी का काम किया है, तो आपको एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट्स मिलते हैं. और उस फाइनल पॉइंट्स मिलते हैं उसके हिसाब से हम एडमिशन ऑफर देते हैं. तो सीधा सीधा जवाब ये है मेरा कि आप एलिजिबल बिल्कुल हो. आपकी ओवरऑल जो प्रोफाइल रही है उसके बेसिस पे हम आपको इंटरव्यू के लिए बुलाएंगे, और इंटरव्यू में जिस तरह के आप जवाब देते हो उस पे हम जजमेंट लेंगे कि आप इस प्रोग्राम में के लिए अच्छे कैंडिडेट हो जाएंगे.
सर मैं B.Pharm 3rd ईयर का स्टूडेंट हूँ.
अच्छा,
तो MBA के लिए मेरे को ये क्या कट ऑफ ये एडमिशन के लिए क्या क्या चाहिए?
आपको सिर्फ किसी भी एक एग्जाम का स्कोर चाहिए.
Yes.
4 तरह के एग्जाम है, आप कोई सा भी ले सकते हो. कैट होता
Yes.
है, जैट होता है, CMAT होता है और GMAT होता है. कैट,
sir.
जैट, CMAT लगभग आसपास ही होते हैं, एक ही महीने के अंदर हो जाते हैं. तो आपको उनकी डेट्स जाननी है और रजिस्टर करना है, क्योंकि हमको एक टेस्ट स्कोर चाहिए होता है, क्योंकि हम अपना खुद का टेस्ट नहीं लेते. तो अगर
जी.
आपके पास किसी भी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम का स्कोर है तो आप ऑनलाइन हमारी वेबसाइट पे जाके फॉर्म भर सकते हो, और फिर आपको इंटरव्यू के लिए बुलाया जा रहा है, वो आपको ईमेल पे या फोन पे आपको जानकारी आ जाएगी.
I have been in the industry for the last 15 years, so I cannot join as a full-time or regular student or an aspirant. So what I am interested in pursuing the same course in online.
Okay.
That was the reason why I asked you the 6 domains will be covered or not if I join online.
Yeah, understood. We are launching a program in March. The very first cohort will start their online MBA in healthcare program. So please look out for details on our website. It will come up very soon. So you can join that program. That essentially requires, if I remember it correctly, that program asks you to devote about 12 or 15 weeks over a period of 1 year. So it essentially is curated for working professionals.
So Vinesh, I'll just add to what Devasheesh said. Over the next 1 year, Vinesh, you'll have lots of online programs, online MBA programs that will be, because the UGC, AICTE and all are, approving a lot of institutions, decent number of institutions who are pre-qualified based on a NAC score and an NIRF ranking, right? There's obviously they're giving that permission very selectively, but they're giving it, which was not the case earlier. So over the next 6 months, Vinesh, you will see good number of institutions which have come into the market to give online MBA for people like yourself.
I wanted to ask, till when can we expect a call letter for personal interviews and group discussions?
Around 10th Feb is, I would roughly say, you will get your intimation.
And sir, will it be a online or offline process?
Yeah. So last 2 years we've been doing online. It worked reasonably well for us because it worked. The Achievers round we are doing physically, but looking at the current state of things, we have kept the GDPI session again for this year online.
Even if the session is done online, please take the pain of going and physically seeing the institution, because that's when you actually get the actual feel.
Absolutely.
So take that effort, because it's a life, it's a career at stake. So take that pain and take that effort, right? That's my advice as a counselor, right?
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जैसे मैंने डिप्लोमा कर रखा है मेडिकल लेबोरेटरीज में, उसके साथ साथ मेरा बायोटेक सेकंड ईयर रनिंग है। तो सर ये मतलब क्वालिफिकेशन इसका मिनिमम क्या होता है इसमें अप्लाई करने के लिए?
तो आप अभी अप्लाई कर सकते हो, भले आप फाइनल ईयर में हो, लेकिन आपके जब तक आप यहाँ ज्वाइन करोगे तब तक आपके एग्जाम्स हो जाने चाहिए और होपफुली रिजल्ट्स आ जाना चाहिए, ताकि यू कैन कंटिन्यू, बिकॉज इफ बाय एनी चांस यू आर अनेबल टू क्लियर देन यू विल बी रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम द प्रोग्राम। आपको एमबीए तो नहीं कर सकते आप।
और दूसरा अभिषेक, एक और भी होने वाला है अभी नया एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, आप शायद you would be listening to a lot of people on new education policy. The new education policy, a diploma holder, if they study for 1 more year, get a graduation certificate, right? Because NEP talks of initial thing and then diploma and then degree, right? तो मेरे हिसाब से ना, अगर आपको वो ग्रेजुएशन नहीं भी करोगे ना, आपके पास डिप्लोमा रहेगा ना, तो 1 साल पढ़ाई करने के बाद आपको शायद ग्रेजुएशन मिल जाएगा। जस्ट वेट फॉर द अनाउंसमेंट फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट। यूजीसी बहुत अनाउंसमेंट कर रही है इसके बारे में।
Sir, my question is that currently I am pursuing final year B Pharm.
अच्छा।
So is it mandatory for me to qualify NMAT, CMAT, or directly I can get admitted to the?
See, it's mandatory because these are the AICTE guidelines that where any institution in India, you have to have a valid entrance exam score.
Yes.
So we have chosen 4 entrance exams for us, और भी होते हैं, but we have chosen that we will only allow students जिन्होंने इन 4 में से कोई से भी एग्जाम दिए हों, which are CAT, ZAT, CMAT and GMAT.
Sir, do we have cutoff for this?
For PGDM there is a cutoff, which
no, for healthcare.
For healthcare there is no cutoff. Healthcare में we do admissions based on the profile of the candidate, but having a valid score is important.
आपको ये भी बता दूं कि अभी CMAT का भी एग्जाम नहीं हुआ है, तो अप्लाई कर लीजिएगा और इस पे अप्लाई डाल दीजिएगा, बिकॉज आपका CAT खत्म हो गया, ZAT होने वाला है, एप्लीकेशन डेडलाइन खत्म हो गया, GMAT और CMAT आपके हाथ में है, तो वो दोनों में कहीं ना कहीं आपको करना ही पड़ेगा।
थैंक यू सर।
सर मेरा BSc माइक्रोबायोलॉजी हो गया है सर फरवरी में 2020 में सर लास्ट। तो सर मैं इंटर्नशिप नहीं किया सर, मैं प्रिपरेशन कर रहा था सर इसकी कैट की। तो सर कोई इंटरव्यू के वक्त सर कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं होगा सर?
बाय लॉ यू कैन अप्लाई, एंड एज आई सेड, जो मैं बाकी लोगों को बता रहा था कि आपके पास एक एंट्रेंस एग्जाम का स्कोर होना चाहिए, एंड व्हेन यू टेक एडमिशन यू विल हैव टू सबमिट योर फाइनल डिग्री।
तो प्रणय, I'll put things in perspective. आपको ग्रेजुएट बनी है और आपको कैट एग्जाम जो आपने बोला था कि आप लिख रहे थे, उसका स्कोर चाहिए आपको। बस जब भी ग्रेजुएशन सर्टिफिकेट रहेगा और कैट स्कोर आएगा ना, कैट स्कोर के हिसाब से आपको इंटरव्यू बुलाया दिया जाएगा। बट बिफोर यू जॉइन इन, प्लीज बी श्योर दैट कि आपके पास ग्रेजुएशन का सर्टिफिकेट हाथ में रहे।
सर क्या कैट का सर स्कोर कुछ कट ऑफ रहेगा सर, कुछ यानी कि आपको इतना चाहिए एडमिशन के लिए
because
डिग्री के साथ?
क्योंकि हमारे सिर्फ 60 सीट्स हैं,
हाँ
HCM में एक्चुअली कंपटीशन काफी ज्यादा होता है. We get a
हाँ
lot of
सर, हाँ
applications,
मैं
right?
देखा सर,
हाँ,
देखा
तो हमारी कोई कट ऑफ नहीं है, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली कट ऑफ बन जाती है क्योंकि हम कैट स्कोर को भी कुछ वेटेज देते हैं, है ना?
हाँ.
तो जितना ज्यादा स्कोर है उतना अच्छा है.
I'll also tell you one more thing for all the students here. See, a CAT score is not meant to judge you. It's just at many a times now, because I know the best institutions जहां BA arts के बंदे को देते हैं जहां percentile 60 रहता है, because they're not supposed to be knowing quants, they're not supposed to be knowing mathematics, right? So understand that when an institution wants to take you, the CAT is just a filter that they are using so that you have a basic thing, but it doesn't mean that you should be in the top of the charts. It doesn't mean that way. If you're a BA arts student or a B pharmacy student, you're not supposed to know quant. So they give a concession for that, and they give a weightage for that also, and understand. Don't worry about those things, please understand. In conclusion, Devasheesh, would you mind telling the student of the kind of student who must choose specialization, the kind of student who must choose health sciences, and how the kind of future that holds for these students?
I think I'll summarize what we have been discussing over the last 75 minutes and putting all the questions in context. If you are a good student for PGDM Healthcare Management Program, if you want to build a career in healthcare, and you want to understand more about how healthcare services are delivered, right? So if you're a doctor, you only know how hospitals work, you can join this program and you'll get to know how the manufacturing of medicines and medical devices work. If you are an engineer, you only know coding. You can build on your skills. You can work for healthcare clients, and you can specifically work for the fastest growing sector. So any type of student is a good student for us. We don't have a cutoff. We only shortlist based on profiles. Our batch consists of all types of degree holders, right from MBBS, BDS to BTech, BE to BCom and BA, because we don't distinguish and discriminate. It's only a matter of how motivated you are. So if you want to go and work for, let's say, in simpler words, if you think you want to go and work for a company like Johnson & Johnson, or you want to go and work for Dr. Reddy's or Narayana Health Hospitals, or even Ministry of Health in Delhi, then this is a good program for you to join. So you get to spend about 18 months in classroom. You do 10 weeks of internship, and then you can participate in the recruitment. So you end up with an MBA with a specific skill set which is applicable to healthcare.
Thank you so much, Devasheesh. It was a pleasure talking to you. I always tell students, please look at the alumni network, please look at the accreditations, and please look at the legacy of the institution, right? Good luck to all of you guys. Thank you so much.